All right, let's talk about something that causes a headache for pretty much every student out there, your grades. And look, you can forget all those university-specific guides for a minute. What we're doing here is a masterclass in the universal math behind SGPA and CGPA. My promise to you is that by the end of this, you'll be able to calculate and, more importantly, understand your grades with total confidence, no matter where you study.
You know that feeling, right? You get your grade report, you look at it, and it feels like you're trying to crack the Da Vinci Code. It's just this dense page of credits, points, acronyms, and it can be super intimidating. But here's the secret. That code is built on a really simple and logical system. And in the next few minutes, you're not just going to understand it, you're going to master it. So here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle why we even use this system instead of simple percentages. Then we'll decode the two key numbers that are basically the DNA of your mark sheet. From there, we'll get hands-on and calculate your SGPA, and then the big one, the CGPA. We'll even cover conversions and all those tricky special cases before finally talking about how you can put all this knowledge to work. Okay, so first things first, why did universities all over the world ditch the simple percentage system we all grew up with? Well, the goal wasn't to make your life more complicated, I promise. It was actually to create a standard for academic achievement that was fair and easier to compare.
Think about it like this. Is getting an 85% in, say, advanced quantum mechanics the same as getting an 85% in an introductory elective? A simple percentage says, yep, they're identical. But the GPA system is smarter. It says, hold on, not so fast. It's designed to give a more balanced, a more nuanced picture of your hard work. This is what allows for fair comparisons, not just across different subjects, but across different universities, too. And that's why this is so critical to get right.
Right, let's get to the good stuff, the actual calculation. And to do that, we need to understand the two fundamental building blocks of the entire system. Your whole academic record, every single course, boils down to just two numbers. Let's break them down.
First up, we have the grade point, or GP. This is the quality part of your grade. It's just a straight-up number that's assigned to the letter grade you get. You know, an O for outstanding might be a 10, an A+ could be a 9, and so on. So think of it as the raw score for how well you did in one class.
And the second number is the credit. This is the impact part. Honestly, the best way to think about credits is as the weight of a subject. A really tough 4-credit core class that takes up hours and hours of your week should have a bigger impact on your final grade than a lighter 2-credit elective, right? So here it is. The grade point tells you how well you did, and the credit tells you how much that performance actually matters.
Now here's a pretty standard 10-point grading scale that shows you how those percentages get turned into grade points. But, and this is a big but, while the idea is universal, the exact numbers can change. Your university might use a 4.0 scale or have different cutoffs. The absolute key takeaway here is always check your own school's official rulebook.
Okay, we've got our building blocks. Grade points and credits. So we are officially ready for our first big calculation, the semester grade point average, or SGPA. This number is a perfect snapshot of how you did in just one semester. The whole thing breaks down into 4 really simple steps. For every single subject you took in a semester, you find its grade point, you find its credit value, and then you multiply those two together. That gives you something called credit points. Once you've done that for all your classes, you just add up all those credit points and divide that big number by the total number of credits you took. That's it.
And here's what that looks like as a formula. That funky sigma symbol, that's sigma, and it just means add them all up. So the SGPA is the sum of grade point times credit for every course, all divided by the total credits for the semester. It's literally just a weighted average. So let's actually walk through a real example right now to see how it works. Okay, let's make this real. Let's say you had a semester where you took a bunch of courses and it all added up to 24 total credits. Now you go through and multiply the grade points and credits for each course and then add all of those results up. Let's imagine your total credit points for the semester came out to 210. Now for the easy part, we take that 210 and we divide it by the 24 total credits you took. So 210 divided by 24 gives us 8.75. Boom, there it is. That number is the pure weighted average of your performance for the whole semester. Simple as that. Awesome. You've totally got the SGPA down. So let's move on to the big one, the cumulative grade point average, your CGPA. This is the number that tells the story of your entire academic journey. And this is exactly where we have to stop and talk about the single biggest mistake that students make.
Seriously, let this sink in because it's the most important thing you'll learn today.
Your CGPA is not a simple average of all your semester SGPAs. If you've been adding up your SGPAs from each semester and just dividing by the number of semesters, I'm sorry to say, you've been doing it wrong. And now we're going to see exactly why that is.
Just look at this. The wrong way, over on the left, it pretends that a semester with 20 credits and another semester with 25 credits are somehow equal, but they're not. The correct way, on the right, just continues the same logic we already learned. You add up the total credit points from every single semester and divide by the total credits from every single semester. This isn't just some tiny math detail. It's what makes the entire system fair.
So here's the really cool part. Because the CGPA is a true weighted average, it actually offers a path to, well, academic redemption. A really strong performance in a tough, high-credit junior year can genuinely pull up a weaker performance from your freshman year. The system actually rewards growth. Your entire academic story is told through this one number, not just a sloppy average of its chapters.
All right, you get the theory now. But let's be honest, college life isn't always that neat and tidy. So let's tackle the practical stuff. The edge cases you're almost guaranteed to run into, from converting your grades to dealing with, well, setbacks.
Okay, a super common question: how do I turn my CGPA into a percentage for a job application? The most widely accepted way to get a rough idea is to multiply your CGPA by 9.5. So an 8.0 CGPA is roughly a 76%. But, and this is a big warning, some universities have their own special number. Maybe it's Fen, maybe it's 9.2. So for anything official, you have to check your university-specific rule.
Now, for all those what-if moments. What if you fail a subject? Well, your grade point for that class is 0. But, and listen carefully, the credits for that class are still counted in your SGPA calculation for that semester. That's why a fail hits your GPA so hard. But the good news is, once you clear that backlog, the new passing grade completely replaces the old 0 in your overall CGPA. The system is built to reflect your final successful result.
Okay, we've cracked the code, we've mastered the math. So for our last section, let's go from just calculating to actually applying this knowledge. How can you use what you now know to represent yourself accurately and avoid some really common mistakes when you're applying for jobs or grad school?
Think of this as your final checklist. We've talked about all of these. Number 1, the biggest sin, averaging your SGPAs. The others all come from not quite getting the whole weighted system. And number 5 is the golden rule. Your university's handbook is the final word always. If you can avoid these 5 mistakes, trust me, you are way ahead of the game.
Here's something that happens all the time. You're filling out an online form, and it only asks for a percentage. What do? The absolute safest and most professional thing you can do is get an official percentage certificate from your university's exam office. Don't just convert it yourself with a generic formula, unless the application specifically tells you to. Following the rules here is key.
And with that, our masterclass is complete. You are no longer just someone who gets grades. You are an informed student who actually understands the system, the importance of each class, and the real story your grades are telling. So the final thought I'll leave you with is this. Now that you know the code, how are you going to use it to strategically plan your future? How is this going to change your approach to the semesters you have left?